Hey, what's up, Street Talks? Eric from the Street Photography blog. So I want to give you a review of the new Huawei P20 Pro camera phone. Essentially, long story short, I think it's the best smartphone camera for color photography. So opening up the photo app, so you could see by default, there's so many different modes. There's aperture mode, night mode, portrait mode, photo mode. Honestly, I think most of the stuff is gimmicky. I am actually a huge fan of this Pro mode. One thing I was actually curious about was there's this monochrome mode, but to be frank, the pictures actually don't look that great. So I've been using Pro mode, and it's actually been really working really well. So for example, let's say I'm photographing something, I could easily change the EV or the exposure compensation, and it's super fluid and it just kind of locks, which is fantastic. Other options is you could change the metering, and this actually works quite accurately. I'm actually very impressed with it. And I don't touch the ISO. I don't touch the ISO or autofocus or white balance. I don't touch none of that nonsense. But the thing I really want to show you is this vivid colors preset. So this is what it looks like by default, and it just looks kind of like a little bit bland and not that interesting. But once you turn on the vivid color mode, it actually looks insanely good. So this is standard, and boom, vivid colors. And actually, to my eyes, it actually looks super nice. It has like a nice aesthetic. So like even looking at this flower, this is standard mode, vivid mode. I think it looks really nice. Also, the smooth colors mode is pretty nice too, but I prefer to keep it on vivid. Also, one thing that I found super useful with this camera is notice that there's this like Fibonacci spiral thing on the camera. In the top right corner under settings, there's assisted grid, and by default it's off, but I've turned on the Fibonacci spiral to the left. You could also turn on the Fibonacci spiral to the right, and this just really helps you with your composition. I've found that using the assistive grid to the Fibonacci spiral to the left is super useful. There's all these other functions that I haven't really used them too much. I mean, it's kind of insane. You could shoot 40 megapixel, but those photos just would be way too big. I just prefer to keep around like 10 megapixels. I haven't really shot too much with RAW because I don't really care for RAW that much. And also another useful thing is that in the top left corner, you could actually use a flash, and you could actually keep the flash always on, which is actually super useful because if you're shooting video or some other scenes, it actually helps bring out the shots. In terms of organizing the photos and working through the photos, generally what I do is I'll take a bunch of pictures and then I'll just kind of scroll through them. So these are some photos I shot at the mall yesterday. I'm just looking at the photos. So let's say I have this photo I like. Usually I'll click this as favorite, and then I'll just kind of keep scrolling through my shots. Let's say I like this shot, favorite. Keep scrolling. Some pictures I shot of Cindy. And say like this is favorite, whatever. And then go back. And then I'll just go to my favorites. And then I'll select all the images that I like. Then the bottom left corner, share. Then I'll share it to Visco. And the reason I do this is sometimes I'll add a little bit more filters to the shots. So let's say with this, I apply the A6 preset. But the colors already look nice to me. So if let's say I pressed A6, I just could adjust intensity. I actually kind of like a default. So I'll just click save. And then generally what I'll do is in the bottom right corner, I'll save to gallery. And the reason I save this again is that it bumps the best photos to the top, so I could quickly and easily access the pictures. So let's say, yeah, even like the default, I might just increase the exposure a little bit, maybe add a little more contrast. But let's say it's like this, save, bottom right corner, click save to gallery. And again, this picture is Cindy. Let's say I just like this, bottom right corner, save to gallery. And then afterwards, what I could do is if I just open up the normal gallery and I just look at all the photos, then oops. Let's see, photos. I'm not sure why it's not showing up all the things. But anyways, let's say I'm making a new blog post and I want to upload some new pictures. Plus media. say select some new files, and then you can see already, yeah, the top photos I saved show up okay, and then I can start uploading the images. So essentially this is just like a basic workflow that you use with smartphones. And so some just general thoughts on the Huawei P20 Pro camera. So essentially I don't think it's available technically in America, so I just ordered it on Amazon to test it out, and I think it's imported some other way. I think what I really love the most about the Huawei P20 Pro is that the Pro mode is actually very functional and it's very photographer specific. I'm a fan of the iPhone as well as the Google Pixel 3 phone. But the problem is that it's still too focused for just kind of like, you know, I guess the average photographer, which is fine. But also I like the idea that Huawei and also their collaboration with Leica, they've added so many more functionalities. So I think there should just be a barbell. So like I would love in the future iPhone or Google phone built in their default app is you have a combination of both the basic automatic phone mode and kind of more of a pro mode, which allows for more customization and flexibility. Also, huge fan of this vivid colors. I think it just looks great out of camera, which means less time needed to post process. And yeah, just really hats off to Huawei's and Leica's collaboration to make such a great camera phone. In terms of the phone itself, I mean, like, it's fine, everything just kind of works okay, but in terms of UI, if you just want the best phone possible, you're probably best off buying an iPhone and using iOS. And if you want the best flavor of Android, it's still probably going to be the quote pure Android that runs on the Google Pixel, right? So these are some practical thoughts. If you want to learn more, just go on the Google, search Eric Kim P20 Pro, and I think maybe you could find the review here and read some of my thoughts. Alright, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Peace out.